Good morning, class. Today we're on math lesson 37, but before I get started, I'm actually using a different computer, so we're still preparing for next week. Teachers are preparing. Kids should be preparing too. How are you preparing? Well, you should be preparing by being up by 8 o'clock. Some of you guys next week, 2 weeks from now, will be in class. Some of you guys chose to be home. Either way, at 8 o'clock, I start teaching, you guys start learning. So this morning, 2 more of you were on, 8 of you total, where yesterday we only had 6, but by 8 o'clock we need all 28 of you on ready to go. So start preparing. Anyhow, I have a different computer used today. So if it looks a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger or it sounds a little bit different, it's just a different computer. We're making the adjustments to prepare for you guys for live next week. Here we go. Lesson 37 is page 222. Have your books handy so that you can visualize these fractions we're going to work on today. Today you will learn how just one objective, how to draw a picture to represent a fraction. We're going to draw pictures in math class. Sounds like art class. I already drew a few for you. The first one I drew was a square. You just draw a square, and you can divide a square with a vertical line or a horizontal line to cut it in half. You can draw X marks the spot in it, or a T to divide it into fourths. Here I shaded one of 2 parts. The numerator is the part, 1. And the denominator is the whole, the 2, 1/2. And I shaded half it. This one I drew a circle. And I divided the circle with a T here into 4 equal parts. Key word there, equal. They got to be equal parts. And I shaded one. This fraction, this picture represents the fraction 1/4. This one here is a rectangle. I divided the rectangle in 4 parts by putting 3 lines. 3 lines gives you 4 parts. I shaded 3 of them, and so my fraction is 3/4. That's it, guys. That's pretty much the whole assignment. Let's take a look at our examples in our book. All right, example number 1, at the top of page 229, if you're following along, it says, draw 3 squares and shade half of each square in a different way. 3 squares. I'm going to draw one first, and I'm going to go with a vertical line and shade 1/2. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly shaded in. The best you can. Draw a second square. This time I'm going to use a horizontal line, going with the horizon. And I chose to shade the bottom. I shaded one, and there was 2, 1/2. The third way you can do a square is you can do it with an oblique line. Cut it from one corner to the other corner. Look at all the parts. They're all equal, or pretty good because my drawings aren't perfect. And I shade 1 of 2, 1/2. 3 different ways of making 1/2 with a square. Example number 2 there in the middle of the page. It says draw a rectangle and shade 1/3 of it. Now the book tells you some strange things to divide this rectangle. It says first divide it in half. I don't really want you to divide it in half, but if you divide a third in half here and then go about half of that, then you'd have thirds. I like this just to do it without the half there. Okay? So don't divide it in half. Divide it into thirds. To make 3 equal parts, you need 2 lines. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to shade 1/3 of that. Now this was with vertical lines. You can do the same thing with horizontal lines. I made a really skinny rectangle. And now 2 lines, horizontal, and I have 1/3. 1/3. Pretty easy so far. Going on to example number 3, down at the bottom. It says a circle courtyard is made of white stones and blue stones. If half of the courtyard is made of blue stones, which of the diagram could not represent the courtyard? So now you got to look at that first one in your book. If you count all those up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm going to draw it. You should too. To make an eighth, you would do, first of all, a T, followed up by an X marks the spot. Now I have 8 parts, and they shaded this one 1, this one 2, this one 3, this one 4. 4/8, and 4/8 equals 1/2. If I would take these 2 and slide them here and here, you would see 1/2 easier. Look at B. B looks like this. Again, divide into eighths, and the ones that are shaded are right here and here. That's 2/8. Now 2/8 equals 1/4. It doesn't equal a half. Well, C is obvious. It looks like a half is divided right down the middle. And D, every other one is. So obviously our answer is B. Yeah. Did you want to pop in? Sure. It's crazy. This is our whole right here. This is Mr. Bauer and Mrs. Bauer. And if you would draw us and you cut us in half, you'd have 1/2 of our couple. I don't know, that doesn't really fit in, but Mrs. Bauer popped in and she was smiling at me, so I was laughing. What's up?
I know you guys are learning fractions, but one thing that happens at our house a lot is we'll have a whole batch of cookies and we try to divide it out, but sometimes Mr. Bauer takes half and then the rest of us are left to divide up half of the cookies. See you later.
She teases me because she likes me, I think. All right, take a look at our lesson practice now. You should have turned the page to 230. We got 3 boxes left and 4 questions left. We want to see if we can't fit those in there, so write kind of small. A says, draw a circle and shade 1/4. So go ahead and draw your circle. And to make 4, we got to have 4 equal parts. Now you can't go horizontal with dividing a circle. You can't go vertical because the parts aren't equal. So to divide a circle into fourths, you've got to go with a T, or you could go with an X marks the spot. Either way. Now you're going to shade one of those, so you have 1/4. Shade one of those, and you have 1/4. All right, I'm going to change my computer here a little bit. There you go. Now you can see the bottom ones. Go on to the letter B. It says draw a rectangle and shade 2/3 of it. Rectangle. It's longer than it is tall. And now you've got choices here. You can divide it in with vertical lines or horizontal lines. I'm going to do the horizontal lines. 2 lines will give me 3 parts. 3 parts. And we want to shade 2 of those. 2/3 is shaded. Okay, the third one there, C. It says the shaded portion of this square represents the fraction 3/4. Show another way to shade 3/4. Their square was 2 oblique lines. And they shaded 3/4 of those lines. Now we're supposed to do it another way. So let's not do oblique. Let's do an X marks the spot. And shade 3 of those. Now maybe you got a little space left on your paper. We'll want to get D on there too. D is one that I want to teach you because we don't want to skip over this one because a lot of kids have issues with circles and thirds. It says shade the portion of the circle represent the fraction 1/3. So go ahead and draw your circle first. And if you're going to divide into thirds, I say you got to make a peace sign. Okay? And so a peace sign is going to come in here to the middle, and then go down. Okay, pretty good. Now some people call this a Y. I call it a peace sign. If you wanted to, you could do it with an upside down Y. Okay, so either way, but I got my thirds now, and then I can shade my 1/3. I always label mine so that I'm ready for when we go on to our next step with fractions. All right? All right, class. Everything you want to know about fractions today as far as drawing goes. Draw pictures to make fractions. Our lesson for today. God bless you.